morning, everyone. It's a great honor for me to be here, and I'd like to start off today by asking you a question. When was the last time that you thought about your childhood? How did that make you feel? I ask because, for me personally, my childhood memories are very important, and that's why today I'd like to start with one of them. When I was in my middle school days, my parents finally let me take the public bus to go to school. I was so proud and excited. I still remember those days, the sunshine outside, the gelato stops, the seafront promenade on my way to tennis classes. Now, in those days, the world felt like my playground. I was a very fortunate and a very happy kid. That is how I would like it to remain. I want to see the world in beautiful colors, enjoy everything that it has to offer, and thrive alongside it. Now, back then, as a child, I was being taken care of. I was the spectator. Now, I'm a parent myself. I take care of others, and I take care of myself. And I often stop to think about what that really means. I actually think that everyone should sometimes pause and think, what does it mean to take care of others? What does it mean to take care of oneself? Now let me explain. I may not be a doctor, but I am armed with common sense. And it is common sense to acknowledge that we are surrounded by chemicals. There are chemicals in our food, toothpaste, creams, literally everything. And that could be doing no good to our hormonal or actually any other human system. Now, I was really triggered 6 years ago when I first became a parent. I believe that many parents can relate to this desire to shield your pure little babies from the outside world, from its nasty influences. Now, I started questioning everything. Our choices, our lifestyle, the products that we consume and surround ourselves with. Now, that was when I started to do some research. No pressure, just one question at a time. And to be honest, at a closer inspection, the magnificence of choice that we see in the supermarkets lost its luster. If you take a closer look at the labels on the products that we consume, you may quite often notice some questionable or sometimes even downright harmful ingredients. And that is disheartening, to say the least. But that was when another little memory from my childhood resurfaced and brought me even further down this rabbit hole. About 20 years ago, when I was a teenager, my grandmother came to visit us for a few months. Now, she had her own way of doing things, sometimes a little old school. And as I was washing the dishes, she came up to me and ever so gently tried to introduce the wonders of mustard powder. Now, for those of you who don't know, back in the days, it was used as a dishwashing agent. Now, obviously, I pushed the idea away, preferring my modern and professional cleaning detergent, which was standing proudly in its plastic bottle. Mustard powder. People created fairy cleaners for a reason, right? But my grandmother did plant a little seed in my head, because 20 years later, I still remember that conversation. And also because 20 years later, I found myself ordering mustard powder. Now, why, you may ask? Maybe because the answers that we are seeking are right in front of us all along. Now, mustard powder is cheap, effective, and natural. Cleaning detergents, on the other hand, are not eco-friendly for the most part. They're more costly, and they quite often have a pretty damaging manufacturing process. Now, by choosing mustard powder, I was taking care of my family and myself, and also taking a tiny, very, very tiny step towards a more sustainable future. Now, I am no ecologist, to be lecturing you on the millions of ways in which humanity is harming the environment. There will be no gory pictures of pollution in my presentation today, I promise. What I am doing here, trying to do my mission today here, is to plant a little seed of awareness in you consumers out there. Let's try to rethink our consumer habits. Let's explore some of the alternatives out there that may change the game if only they get the attention that they deserve. Now, I am also no business consultant to be lecturing you on sustainable production processes, but mustard powder, as magical as it is not the only alternative that I would like to discuss today. Now, the examples that I have chosen may seem a little random, but I chose them specifically because I find them genius for their simplicity, and I hope that they will be able to show you that there are other ways. I was really inspired by a small startup company in Vietnam that produces eco-friendly cleaning products by using pineapple waste. Now, they are not only reducing a certain percent of rot or waste burning, but they're also using only 4 main ingredients for their production, which is water, pineapple waste, sugar, and coconut oil. Now, I find this idea brilliant, and I've actually later on stumbled across some homemade recipes in which you can use the same fermentation process at home to create a very light cleaning substance, just by using water, soda, and for example, pomelo skins. It's very fragrant too. Now, the next example that I would like to bring up today is a little controversial. But I was not sure whether I should add it in the first place, but this is not an advertisement, right? These are just ideas worth studying, worth considering. Now, by a show of hands, could you tell me please, how many of you have heard about vegan leather? Oh, quite a few actually, I'm surprised, which is good. Now, vegan leather, for those of you who haven't heard about it, is a type of material that was created by designers by using the different types of waste. For example, pineapple waste, mango, avocado, cactuses, banana plants, and even coffee beans. Now, I call this example controversial because it is not quite clear for us as consumers whether the final product is actually clean, entirely clean. However, using the same logic, people have actually created other products as well, such as plant pots. They're harmless and biodegradable, and you will not need to take your plant out of the pot before planting it into the soil. So it is also quite convenient. Now, the next example that I want to bring up today, I find absolutely beautiful. It was introduced by an Indian entrepreneur. So he proposes an alternative to tea bags without using the little bag in the production. Now, I find this a beautiful example because it's a much tastier product and also a much cleaner one. And maybe in China, it will not be as wow because the tea culture here is huge. But I'm sure that there are so many other countries that could benefit from this idea. There are so many other examples that go unnoticed. And I can actually go on forever. These innovative businesses often don't get the funding they need and also the attention. They cannot compete with huge established brands that we see in all of our supermarkets. But this is where the consumer comes in. Consumers have the power to create demand and in turn shape the supply. You may have noticed that I am somewhat a dreamer. Yet even I realize that the big changes cannot happen overnight on a large scale of consumers. However, little by little, ripple by ripple, we as consumers can change the picture in turn of a better alternative. Because our sphere of influence is in what we buy and consume. And I believe that it is crucial Because what is all this vicious cycle of consumption and production worth if we are destroying that what truly matters, that what shapes our future, and also shapes the happiness of our kids? I am a consumer, just like each and every single one of you people in this room. I'm sometimes an anxious consumer, striving to be an aware one. And as a consumer, a parent, and a person, I would like to encourage all of us to rethink our consumer habits. Try to open our eyes at the labels on the products. And maybe think of the consequences that our little, everyday decisions have for us, for our families, and for the future and beauty of our planet. Thank you.